All right, guys, Josh Crane coming to you from the Josh Crane podcast on Sunday, January 11. I've got Noah Flores with me today, and we're going to talk some. All right, guys, Josh Crane coming to you, the Josh Crane podcast. Like I said, I've got Noah Flores with me today. How you doing, man?
Good. Great day today.
It is a good day today, man. You know, it was nasty yesterday, and today it's real pretty. It makes it a lot easier to go out and do stuff. Mm-hmm. So Noah has the distinct honor, maybe, of being the youngest person I've ever interviewed on my podcast. How old are you?
13.
Yep, you're definitely the youngest that I've ever interviewed. But I've been wanting to talk to you. I contacted your dad, who's sitting over there behind us today, because you do some interesting stuff. And like a lot of things that happen with me, I'm just driving down the road and something pops in my mind and I go, yeah, I need to execute on that. And, of course, I've watched you for a while now, but your activity level in jiu-jitsu and wrestling is impressive. And I'm constantly trying to get people like my age to be active and do stuff. That's hard enough, right? But I was thinking, you and I could actually have a conversation about being active at your age. And because it's not just play. I mean, you do a lot of work, and we're going to talk about that. But I got a gift for you first. First of all, you get a hat. You definitely got to get a hat. Keep moving toward the fight. All right, so I'm going to give you this. This is a cool thing. This is a new one that I had in my safe. So I'm going to take the battery piece off of it, and I hope it works. So this is called AccuStrike. I was going to give you an actual blade, but I didn't do that because I got to check with mom and dad first to see if I'm going to do that kind of stuff. So AccuStrike is a pretty cool tool here. Let me cut it on, make sure it works. Oh, man, I might have to get a new battery for it. All right, so here's the way this is what this is for. So there's a guy in town, and if you're ever interested in doing this, I'll talk to you about it off air and kind of put you in contact with him. But because you do martial arts, if you ever start working a blade, this is a tool that helps you work blade work. Because what it does is it lights up when you're getting good strikes. That's why it's called AccuStrike. It also makes a noise. Now, that's why. There you go. So when you're training with someone that does blade work and you're working on your different moves, you know that you're getting good strikes if you're getting your light and your sound on. And then I think you can change the color to green. Yeah, so you know that depending on who you are, like if you're working with another person that has one of these, then like if I'm the bad guy, I'm going to make mine red. You're going to be the good guy. You'll make yours green so that you can kind of check your strikes out. But anyways, just I wanted to give that to you because that, if that's something that you progress to at some point and say, I want to learn how to do some blade work or something like that, that's a cool tool to have. All right, man, so let's talk about it. Noah Flores, where do you go to school?
Blackman Middle.
All right, how do you like that?
It's good for the most part.
Yeah.
School still sucks, but.
All right. What's your favorite subject in school?
I think probably social studies.
Okay.
I like the history.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. That's kind of how I was. I was always a history guy. I really liked, I was never really, the science stuff interested me, but I wasn't any good at it. And I was just like, whatever. But the history I really liked. All right, cool. All right. So Blackman Middle, what grade is it?
8th grade.
8th grade. Oh man. So
going to high school next year.
Dude, high school's next year. How do you feel about that?
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I've been to the high school for wrestling practice. Looks like they got a bunch of interesting stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll be fun. All right. So you and I met, like I meet a lot of different people through the jiu-jitsu world. How long have you been doing jiu-jitsu?
5-6 years.
Okay. For a minute.
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah. And where do you train at now?
Pedigo, Triangle,
Okay, where is that?
Franklin.
Okay. I don't think I've ever been to that one. I may have visited maybe at some point in the past, but I don't recall off the top of my head. All right. So why did you start doing jiu-jitsu?
I think because my dad used to do it when he was younger, and he wanted me and my sister to get a little bit into it. So we started before COVID, just a little bit before COVID. And then we've been doing it ever since.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I've rolled with your dad, so yeah, I know about that. All right. So you started a little bit before COVID. That's kind of cool. All right. So that journey kind of mirrors mine a little bit, because I started during COVID. That's when I had tried it a long time ago, didn't have a really great experience, and then just kind of went back to it. All right. So you started, and you might not necessarily relate to this. Your dad would, other adults would. But a lot of times when young people do something, especially if it's like mom or dad wants you to try something and want you to do it, a kid will start doing something and they'll be like, yeah, whatever, I'm not. But you kind of took to it, right?
Yeah, I love the sport. At first it was kind of like, I didn't really want to do this. My dad just kind of signed me up for it. But as I kept going, I started to really like it. Yeah.
What about it? Like what was it that kind of grabbed you and you were like, yeah, I like doing this?
Kind of the friends, the people I drilled with, rolled with, they helped me. The competitiveness, it's a high competitive sport because it's fighting people. So the competitiveness, I think it really just like grabbed my attention. Like I want to be better than all these people.
Okay. You're one of those people. I can relate to that. So have you always, at least as long as you can remember, are you a competitive person?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that how you are with your sister?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Do you feel like you're that way in other parts of your life? I mean, are you that way like academically with other? Okay. Oh, yeah. So you're somebody that's constantly pushing yourself to be as good as you can be.
For the most part, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all have our, we all slip up and goof off sometimes, but okay. Man, that's interesting. And there's, I'm not going to get too philosophical deep or whatever, but that's neat because obviously when I met you at a different gym that has a really large kids program. And so I saw a bunch of young people but there was something about when I would watch you and I would watch you interact with your mom and dad because your mom and dad were on the mats too. But when I would watch that interaction, I recognized something that I see in my own kids, which is respect. Okay. But I also recognized a different level of work ethic and I'm not saying that other kids weren't working. Okay. But I saw something about you that was like, this kid kind of pushes himself. Like he's trying to be better. And that's interesting to me because I have a tendency to maybe over push myself sometimes in certain things. So maybe you and I, maybe we're kindred spirits in that regard. All right. So you like the competitive nature of it. And you actually compete.
Yep.
Like legit compete. I mean, I compete against myself, right? When I have time and I can go to class, I'm just competing against me. But you actually do a bunch of tournaments.
Yeah, wrestling and jiu-jitsu, both of them.
Yeah,
we do a ton of them.
Do you have any idea last year how many jiu-jitsu tournaments you did?
Nope.
Dad, do you have any idea?
Last year for jiu-jitsu, we did about 10.
10 for jiu-jitsu. 20 or 25 for wrestling. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of confidence. I knew you were going a bunch last year.
Yeah.
Because I would kind of follow your journey through your dad on social media and kind of watch where you were going. So talk to me about like the work that it takes, because I may be wrong about that. I don't think I am. But there was a lot of times when we were at the same gym that you would be coming off the mats from jiu-jitsu practice and then you would be hustling out the door to get to wrestling practice. Am I right about that? Yeah, I thought so. I thought I paid attention to that. So what's that like?
Wrestling and jiu-jitsu are two sports that you need to put work in. Talent, as my parents like to say, talent can only get you so far. So you need to put that work in. You need to drill. That's really what helps elevate all the greats that do the sport. They go from one sport to another. They do like 2-3 hours of practice. That's what really makes them great. Yeah.
How do you, as a young person, how do you kind of maintain that level of discipline? I mean, that's hard. That's hard for people to do that want to be disciplined. For a young person, I can only imagine. I mean, there's other things you want to do. I don't know what it is, video games, or I want to go do this, or I want to hang out, or I want to do something else. But I mean, you're literally putting hours and hours a week into a very physical, two very physical sports. How do you develop that discipline to do that?
Well, obviously my parents helped. I'm kind of a little bit lazy when I'm at home because I just want to sit down and play. But my parents always have me go work out, go to high school practices since I'm in 8th grade, high school practices, middle school practices, jiu-jitsu when I can. They really also helped me push it.
Yeah. Okay. If you could only do one of those two, jiu-jitsu or wrestling, which one would you do?
I don't know. That's a hard question. I love both of them. They're both really competitive, great sports. They both help you in the real life. Wrestling makes you tougher. Jiu-jitsu makes you have to think. I really don't know how to answer that. I might say wrestling because jiu-jitsu is a little bit... Wrestling really helps with the tough mindset. It helps you in the real world when you're working. If you get fired or something, they helps with your tough mindset. But jiu-jitsu, I think it requires a little bit more critical thinking than wrestling does. Because wrestling, you need a little bit of technique and some brute strength. But in jiu-jitsu, strength doesn't really matter on the people who can just weave around your legs. So,
yeah. Talk to me some more about the mindset. And because it's interesting to hear you say, the wrestling, from your experience, the wrestling helps develop that tougher mindset that translates over into real life and how you're going to confront problems and issues that might arise in life. Talk to me more about that.
So I think that's what wrestling does because there's a lot of smashing heads being put in the floor by other wrestlers who are bigger than you. How hard you need to work for that sport. I think that just really helps build up the mindset and physicality of how you tackle things head on in life.
Okay. I like that. And you find jiu-jitsu, I never wrestled. I probably should have wrestled in high school if I was smart. I'm built like a wrestler, but for whatever reason, I ran track. But you talk about jiu-jitsu being more of a critical thinking game, and I can kind of see that. Even though I've never wrestled, I can kind of see that just having done jiu-jitsu the amount of time that I have, it is a very critical thinking type game. You're always... If you're good, which I'm not, but if you're good, you're always thinking 2-3 steps ahead. And that's what, some of the great things about some of the people that we've worked with in the past. Kyle Frazier, when Frazier teaches class, and of course he was a wrestler, big time wrestler, but when he teaches class or Bart the same way, they're teaching you in a way that they're looking down the road 3 and 4 steps. And is that kind of the same thing you're talking about when you're talking about critical thinking?
Yeah, because jiu-jitsu is kind of like real life chess. A lot of chess players have to think 3, 4, 5 steps ahead of their opponent just to beat them in that one exchange. Jiu-jitsu is really one of those sports where it has to be super technical. And you have to put a little bit of thought into where you're moving next because if you make a big mistake, they can capitalize and tap you.
That's a fact. Happens to me a lot. Yeah. But it's cool because one of the things that happens, I talk a lot when I roll. I don't necessarily mean to. It's just it's a nervous thing, I guess I've got or whatever. And so there's often times where I'll be rolling with somebody, and as soon as they grab something, I'm like, yep, saw that one coming. I knew it. I don't know why I did what I just did because I knew that was going to happen, but I did it anyway. All right. So talk to me about the competitions. Where all can you remember? Let's talk jiu-jitsu first. Where all did you go last year to compete?
I remember at the beginning of the year we did Atlanta. We did some grappling games around Tennessee. We did a new breed in Alabama,
Okay.
I think. Other than that, I don't remember.
Did y'all do Florida? Was there a Florida trip last year?
We did not do Florida that year.
Okay. All right. So you skipped Florida because you had some big wrestling things doing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what's it like? Talk to me about when you go to tournaments. What's that like?
It's a competitive airspace, and definitely there's a bunch of people ready to kill someone to get a gold medal. Yeah, it's a really competitive airspace. It really helps you too because it makes you a little nervous because you're watching other people go out and start killing it on the mat, and you're like, what if that's the person I have to wrestle? It gets into your head a little bit, or what's the person you have to fight? It gets in your head a little bit. Like, when you start competing, it like, what if I don't do good? What if I get tapped out? What if I lose? My parents like to tell me a lot, like, stop fighting scared. You just got to go in and fight like you're going to win.
I like that. I like that advice. Okay. So when you do your jiu-jitsu tournaments, do you kind of have a game plan in mind, like what your game is going to be, or do you kind of go and you're like, I'm gonna kind of feel this person out, I'm gonna see kind of how they're moving, and I'm gonna react to it, and then just try to capitalize?
Nope, I just free ball it.
you're just like, get on the mats and let's just
I
go.
just go in.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So how many days a week on average are you training jiu-jitsu?
For jiu-jitsu, since we're still kind of in wrestling season, we only really go on Mondays because my practices are at like 5 because I do the high school to 6 to 7, and then from 7 to 8:30. So
Okay. All right. So 2026, are you planning on doing more jiu-jitsu tournaments this year?
I think for this part, since it's my last year of middle school, I'm going to try to focus a little bit more on wrestling for this last year.
Yeah.
And then after once AAU season's over for wrestling, which is what we're in, I'm going to start training a lot more jiu-jitsu, going to triangle and stuff.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right, let's talk about the wrestling then, because you're in the middle of that right now, right?
Yep.
So explain to people what like an average practice looks like for you.
Okay, so we have our warm-ups, which is about 15 minutes. And then for the next maybe 45 to an hour, we're just drilling. And then for the last however longer is left, we're doing, if there's 30 minutes left, which normally that's how long we go, to 8. And then after 8, we start going live for maybe 20, 15 minutes, and then we're running sprints. We're running conditioning the rest of practice.
That seems pretty hardcore.
I hate the conditioning so much.
You would just rather get on the mats and just go?
Yeah. I'd rather an hour, 30 minutes of live than 20 minutes of sprints.
Okay. So when y'all are doing drills, like after your warm-ups and y'all are running drills, like talk to me about the drills that you're running.
We're just running some of the basics. Favorite moves. We're learning some new moves, or just drilling great basics like our shots, sprawls, our circle go behinds. Really just the basic from top moves to bottom moves. Because I think, as you know, the goal of wrestling is to pin your opponent by putting both their shoulder blades on the mat.
Mm-hmm.
So from top, that's what we're doing. From bottom, we just want to try to stand up. We don't want to be down, unlike jiu-jitsu and wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's one of the things when wrestlers come in and do jiu-jitsu.
They try to stand up after, after they get they pull guard or something.
Right.
What am I doing?
You're right. Don't want to be on their back at all. Yeah, they want to stand up. Of course, on the flip side, I've done plenty of jiu-jitsu where someone was yelling at me on the side. He's like, just stand up. Just stand up. That's not quite as easy as it is to say it sometimes.
It's the same with wrestling. They're like, from when we pick bottom for a lot of our tournaments, and our coaches are like, just stand up. It's not quite that easy, but sure, I could just stand up and then get my face put on the floor. But.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what does, when you look kind of out into the future, I'm assuming you're going to wrestle in high school?
Yeah.
Okay. Of course, you're still pretty young, but do you have ideas of what you want to do long term? Like, are you planning on doing college after high school? I mean, is wrestling and jiu-jitsu, is that something you think is going to maintain a consistent place in your life?
I think jiu-jitsu might, because I've been doing jiu-jitsu since I was pretty young. Wrestling, I don't really know. Wrestling still, I think it just might come to me maybe when I'm older in high school, towards my sophomore and senior years.
Yeah. Okay. So if you were talking to other people your age and younger than you, like, would you try to convince them, like, you need to wrestle, you need to do jiu-jitsu?
Oh yeah, I tell some of my wrestling friends, like, oh yeah, jiu-jitsu kind of helps with wrestling because it really helps your hips be able to, like, because that's what I have great hips, I think, in wrestling. It really helps me, like, stop being flipped when they're, like, shooting on me.
Okay.
It really helps. Wrestling, I think, helps jiu-jitsu more than jiu-jitsu helps wrestling.
Okay.
Because wrestling helps with, like, the ability to just go, just nonstop as fast as you can to try to end the match. Jiu-jitsu realistically only helps with your hips because in wrestling, if you've been wrestling your whole life, there's going to be less stuff bad happening to you in jiu-jitsu. Well, obviously, unless they pull guard. Than jiu-jitsu and wrestling, because if you start jiu-jitsu, the first thing you're going to try to do in a wrestling match, especially if you pull guard, you're just going to try to sit. And that's going to be very bad.
Okay. So you would tell people be involved in at least one of these.
Yeah. Even to my friends at school, I'm like, oh yeah, you should wrestle. Wrestling really helps. Wrestling really helps with stuff.
Yeah.
It helps academically, I think. I don't know.
Well,
it definitely helps with the mindset.
Okay. How does it help with the mindset?
Just like I said earlier, it really helps the mindset for real life. Like, just keep pushing forward, and how it has to be, and you have to be super strong mentally to keep going in wrestling. Yeah.
So, do you think this may be a little tougher one here, but when you look around you at your peers, kids your age. And I'm not saying necessarily in a mean way, but do you look at the kids around you and you go, gosh, man, they look awful weak compared to what they could be?
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm walking around at school, and there's a bunch of these people who think they're, like, tough and stuff, and then they look like a pile of bones, and I'm like,
yeah. So there's would you agree with me then that, at least based on what you've been able to do, there's an element of confidence that you have because you have wrestled and because you've done jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
So if the average guy walks around and he looks at you, what do you weigh? Do you know?
Like 110, probably.
110. All right. Yeah. So 13 years old, 110 pounds. You're not a huge guy, but mentally, like, Noah can handle himself because you have, right?
Yeah.
I mean, these things that you're doing, I mean, they're combat sports, and the whole premise behind them is putting your hands on another individual and controlling that individual and defeating that individual, in controlled space. But that also makes you capable outside of that controlled space. Mm-hmm. So I can see where what you've been able to accomplish through jiu-jitsu and wrestling is going to translate into success in other areas of your life. Right?
Yeah, I think so. They both, again, really help you in your personal real life.
Yeah. So here's my prediction. I think it's at least possible. I'm going to save this episode forever because I think it's possible that a handful of years down the road, it may be like Noah Flores on the U.S. Olympic wrestling team. I know you laugh now, but I'm just telling you, you never know, or it could be, Noah Flores is the guy that everybody's talking about in the jiu-jitsu world after he wins, whatever. And I'm going to go, oh yeah, I knew him, that kind of thing. So what else do you do? What else do you like to do?
Sit at home, play games. I work out. Sometimes I drill at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I live a normal person life. Wrestling and jiu-jitsu is the only two things that like a handful of people do. I do.
Yeah. It takes a lot of your time though.
It does.
Is your sister still rolling?
She doesn't compete in jiu-jitsu, but she competes in wrestling, but she still does both.
Okay. But she does compete in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
How did she do last year?
She's actually a state champion.
No kidding.
Third through fifth grade state champion.
State champ. 17-0
last year. She has like 6 losses this year.
So this is like a powerhouse duo.
When they practice with each other at home, it's brutal. Nadia's very, very aggressive against Noah.
But against anyone else, she's like a teddy bear.
She goes at it with him like she has something to prove.
Yeah.
But against
so the sister goes after you hardcore.
Yeah.
And she's a champ. Man, that's a good fight.
Dude, ever since she's won that state, she talks so much smack and then's too scared to try to follow it up against me. I'm like, all right, let's go upstairs then. She's like, nah.
Yeah.
Nadia is a good wrestler. She is. She's a phenomenal wrestler. But she went from big fish in Little Pond as a 5th grader to the middle school girls division and stuff like that, wrestling against 7th and 8th graders and some of these older boys.
Little fish in a lake.
It gets in her head a little bit.
Okay.
She went from winning all the time to having to actually work real hard now against some of these kids, and in her head she gets a mental block where she's like, well, they're older than me, so I'm not going to win.
Oh, okay.
But Noah's the same way in some occasions, and we like to tell them, like, look, it doesn't matter win or lose, as long as you go out on the mat and you give it 100% without giving up, we're going to be happy and proud of your work ethic.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
So did she start wrestling last year also?
Nadia started wrestling when she was in 3rd grade.
3rd grade.
Yeah, she
So
stopped. She stopped for a year, and then because she was like, nah, this is boring. I don't want to do it anymore. And then 5th grade, she was like, I want to wrestle again.
So she's been wrestling longer than you have?
No, they started the same.
Oh, you started the same. Okay, for some reason I thought you just started recently, but so you've been
Started Noah when he was in 5th grade.
okay. So she's been wrestling since 3rd grade. Wow.
She took her 4th grade year off because she said, I didn't like it, but the wrestling coaches at Blackman are really good, and they know how good Nadia is, and they're like, Nadia, come back to wrestling. Even if you're not going to compete,
Yeah.
just come back to wrestling. And so she finally caved to their peer pressure, and she did phenomenal last year. She's doing phenomenal this year. She's winning matches that she shouldn't be winning, and she's pushing herself. Same with him. This year, they've progressed so much.
Wow. That's awesome, man. I need to talk to her too then. Huh. That's awesome, man. And I just sit here and I think about how beneficial that's going to be off the mats for both of them.
It helps them tremendously with their studies. Like Noah said, he's very competitive.
Yeah.
They were homeschooled for 2 years, and it was just us. For Nadia, not really, because she's a real independent person. So we just show her once, and she'll be like, all right, I got it.
Right.
But him, you have to push him. He needs a competition. That is one of the sole reasons that they went back to school.
Okay.
Because it was just us yelling at him constantly about doing his homework. And he's like, this is so
Right. There's a natural competitiveness there. That's awesome though, because and it's also really interesting because it means like if you're left to your own devices, I mean, don't get mad at me, but it sounds like if left to your own devices, you'd just be lazy.
Yeah.
Like you just hang out and be like,
I think that's the problem with kids today.
yeah,
So, when we were younger, our parents would push us and push us. So, that's why we've succeeded in the things that we've done. But like kids today, and in some parent situations, they're not there. And we've noticed it in like wrestling and jiu-jitsu and stuff. Parents just show up and drop their kids off, and
yeah,
they go through middle school season, and then once middle school season's over, parents are like, you know what, this takes too much of my time. I'm not gonna have you do club season. If you want to wrestle, you can wait again until next year. And kids don't learn or develop because they're not wrestling.
yeah. There's not,
They're not learning every day or something.
yeah, the growth isn't there.
Me and Lita are big believers in kids' success is as great or as bad as how their parents push them to be.
Yeah, yeah,
I know people are like, you're going to burn them out, you're going to burn them out. But if the kid loves what they're doing, they're never going to get burned out. They're going to continue to grind and get as best as they can. And us as parents have to be there to be like, look, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. His goal right now is to drop down to 105 to wrestle 105 state this year. And it's 5 pounds. But, at 13 and still pre-puberty, it's hard to lose that
yeah,
weight.
yeah,
So he knows he has to work extra hard to get there. He needs to work out. He sometimes, wakes up in the morning with my wife, and they work out in the morning. He won the student scholarship award from Corax, so we go down there after school, and he does strength and conditioning there. So he knows the work he needs to put in. But like all kids, video games are life.
yeah.
His friends that don't wrestle, that's all they do.
That's all they do. Yep.
So, to make that bond, you're like, I want to play video games too. My friends are playing. So,
Well, and what's interesting listening to you talk, man, is there's a balance, and I think it takes a mature parent to recognize the balance. For me anyway, I see it mostly in football and baseball when it comes to guys, but I see a lot of parents, in my opinion, who are pushing their kids in those particular sports, but it appears to me at least to be more of a let me live through my kid vicariously, right? Let me relive my high school glory days through my kid. That to me is a negative, like no dice. On the other hand, pushing your kid to be like, listen, I mean, number one, I'm not going to let you just sit here and play video games, all right? Because whether you like that or not, that's not healthy for you. It's not good for you. It's not going to translate into legitimately any skill set or mindset that you need to succeed out there in the real world. Okay, so that's a no-go. But if the kid likes wrestling or the kid likes jiu-jitsu, I'm 100% be like, listen, man, it's like if you're going to do anything, do it. And that's, and hearing you say that really to me explains why, as an outsider initially at the gym where we were, I mean, it's not like I knew y'all super good, but I could see something. I could recognize like this is different than that, right? One of these is not like the other. And I think it's that mindset. And it's clear that he's adopting a positive mindset and recognizing like, I wrestle because I like it. I do jiu-jitsu because I like it. I compete because I like it. But I also am starting to recognize that there's translation between the work that I'm putting in and these other areas of my life, which are super beneficial and important.
we try to tell them that, look, life is hard. There's no way life is going to be easy. If it was easy, everyone would be successful.
Right.
So, and with wrestling's not hard. Wrestling's not easy. I think wrestling is like one of the toughest sports you can do in jiu-jitsu, because if you're not tough, you're not going to succeed.
Yeah.
And it makes you tough. It makes you think. So when you do have a problem, you're like, you know what? This is a lot easier than it was wrestling this kid this weekend. So I should be able to overcome this and same mistake again.
Right. Right. That's awesome, man. So, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, video games in moderation.
Yeah.
And just work. All right, so I'm just going to ask you because I'm just interested, and you might tell me I have no earthly idea, but I'm just curious where your mindset is. Do you have any idea what you want to do with your life?
No.
Good. Okay, that's good. That's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. You know what I'll tell you, and then your dad can fight me later if this goes counter to what he says, but I'm going to tell you anyway. When I was growing up, like it was just everybody told us, and my wife and I have talked about this a lot. Everybody just told us, like, you go to high school, then you go to college, then you get a job. Like that was just what you were supposed to do. And I followed that track. Okay. But I'm going to tell you right now, I do not care what anybody else tells you. You always remember that there are multiple tracks that you can pursue in life. Some of them may take you to college. Some of them won't. And it's perfectly fine. You find the thing that you're passionate about. You find the thing that motivates you and drives you and pursue it. Don't put things like, well, what job can I get where I'll make the most money? Because you will end up a miserable, sad person. Okay. So don't let people push you in any particular direction. All right, man. What else you want to talk about?
I don't know.
We need to go shoot sometime.
Oh yeah, I love shooting.
Yeah, we definitely need to go shoot.
I think I have pretty good aim. My mom and dad constantly are like, "Nah, you got trash aim." Nah,
Really?
I think I got better aim than them.
Oh, better than them.
Yeah, he's actually pretty good, but obviously we're not going to tell him that. He shoots my 45 really well.
Yeah?
For his size, yeah. And for the kick that Springfield has,
Yeah?
he shoots it really well.
Well, you're competitive. And when it comes to the guns, I'm competitive. So I feel like there might be some type of competition that we have to build where you and I can go out and we can sling some lead and we can just test this theory about your aim.
Uh-huh.
I was actually going to message you about signing him up for that safety class.
Yeah.
And my daughter doesn't want to. She's scared of guns. And I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity to not be scared. You don't have to shoot.
Yeah.
But you should at least know the gun safety. And if you're ever around, if you go to a friend's house and the dad just leaves the weapon around.
Right.
You're like, look what I found. And you're like, no, we can't do that.
Right. Well, and that's the good thing about the way that I'm building the basic gun safety course that we're doing for kids is that's not going to have any like live fire to it. It's all going to be, let me just introduce you to it and really take away that mystique. Because that's the thing that I think is, again, when I was growing up, at least the way that I grew up, everybody had guns.
Well, did you see that the state of Tennessee has now passed the new bill that all schools in Tennessee will start training kids in gun safety?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and when I was a kid, we had that, I did my first hunter education at school.
I grew up in California, so that's
Yeah. California was,
they're like, no, guns are bad.
yeah. So no, it'll be a good course because it'll just let me introduce you to something that doesn't have to be scary. And it's actually a tool that is very good. But you got to respect it. You got to handle it right. But we can do that. All right, man, we've been going for about 40 minutes. So if you had one final message that you wanted to put out, and we're going to broaden it here. I want you to give a message not only to people your age, but I want you to send a message to parents that have kids your age. What would you tell them when it comes to wrestling and jiu-jitsu? What would you tell them when it comes to just generally being involved in something like that and how it's going to impact their kid's life in a positive way? What would you say?
I think just don't be scared for what's going to happen to them. That's what my mom and dad always feel, because I'll be wrestling these pretty big kids. But, like, so don't be scared to put them in a sport because you're scared they're going to get hurt. Like, these are rough sports. Eventually, sometimes it'll happen. But you just can't be scared, as it one, toughens them, and it, like, helps them be like, oh, I might get hurt, but I'm going to go 100%.
I like it. That's good advice from Noah Flores, a man on a mission, I guess, to some degree, not only to better himself, but certainly with a message to better other people. And maybe if we can get people to listen to you more than they listen to me, we'll have some strong kids out there as opposed to some weak ones, which is what we need, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Noah Flores, thanks for coming and talking to me today.
Thank you for inviting me.